The all-talk guy. Every street has one of the guys who swears he used to fight, who's got a story for every scar that never happened, and who thinks yelling loud is the same thing as being dangerous. He's the human version of an empty can, loud but hollow. The all-talk guy doesn't train, he doesn't prepare, and usually doesn't even realize how unprepared he really is. His only weapon is ego, and that's what gets him hurt. When things start getting heated, he relies on volume, not control. He'll puff his chest, get in someone's face, throw a few words, and expect the other person to back down. Sometimes that actually works because intimidation is real, but when it doesn't and someone calls his bluff, that's where reality hits. Fights don't care about confidence when there's no foundation behind it. The all-talk guy usually throws wide, looping punches, and they don't have any balance or defense. They also burn all their energy in the first 5 seconds, and once he realizes it's not like in his head, panic takes over. He'll grab, stumble, or swing wild, and that's when real fighters end it. The difference between training and pretending is control. The trained fighter knows when to hit, when to move, and when to stop. The talker just reacts. But there's something to be said about why this guy exists. Most people who talk big don't want to fight. They want to avoid it by convincing others they're dangerous. In a way, it's a survival instinct. Talking big might save you once, but it also attracts attention you can't handle. In the real world, confidence means nothing without composure. The all-talk guy mistakes noise for power and ends up learning the hard way that fights don't start with words, they end with who stays calm. It's a lesson everyone learns eventually, but the loud ones usually learn it on the pavement. Kung Fu. Kung Fu is one of the oldest and most respected martial arts in the world. It's rooted in Chinese history, discipline, and philosophy, but when you strip away the culture and ask one brutal question, does it work when someone's trying to hurt you in the street? And the answer gets complicated. Traditional Kung Fu wasn't made for bar fights or parking lot chaos. It was built around forms, structure, and long-term development. The techniques you see are all impressive, but they rely on control and rhythm. Street fights don't have either. In real situations, Kung Fu's biggest problem is distance. Most styles train against other Kung Fu practitioners, not aggressive, untrained brawlers charging with haymakers. The long stances and extended strikes look great in demonstrations, but collapse fast on uneven ground or when someone grabs and clinches. The transitions between movements often take too long to apply before someone's already inside your space. That said, there are things Kung Fu gives you that can help. It builds coordination, awareness, balance, and confidence in movement, which all are things that matter in a real altercation. If you've trained long enough, you'll have sharper reflexes and a sense of timing that can absolutely make a difference. But without contact sparring, realistic drills, or exposure to pressure, that skill doesn't always transfer when it matters most. Some modern schools have adapted, blending traditional Kung Fu with kickboxing or even Jiu-Jitsu to make it practical again. Those versions can absolutely hold their own, but pure traditional Kung Fu often struggles once things get unpredictable. Wing Chun. Wing Chun was built for close-range fighting, the kind of fighting where you don't have time to think, only react. It's fast, efficient, and all about economy of motion. The system was designed around simplicity, block, counter, and control the center line before your opponent even realizes what happened. On paper, it's perfect for self-defense, but in practice, it's not that simple. The core of Wing Chun lies in sensitivity. That's where drills like Chi Sao or sticky hands come in. You learn to feel pressure, redirect energy, and strike at the same time. It's brilliant in concept, but the problem is most fights don't stay in that neat, controlled range. They start with distance, explode with chaos, and often turn into clinches, takedowns, or wild scrambles. When it works, Wing Chun looks sharp. The chain punches, elbows, and trapping hands can overwhelm someone who doesn't know what's happening. But when it fails hard. The stance is too square, the hands are too low. And against someone who's aggressive, bigger, or just reckless, Wing Chun's structure can collapse. It's not built to handle slams, low kicks, or ground fights, which all can happen constantly in real altercations. That said, Wing Chun does teach something valuable: timing and composure under pressure. The style's emphasis on staying relaxed while defending and countering fast can help in those first few chaotic seconds of a confrontation. Practitioners also tend to develop sharp reflexes and a habit of staying close, which can help control someone who's grabbing or pushing. But if we're being brutally honest, Wing Chun's biggest weakness isn't its techniques, it's how most people train them. Without full contact sparring, without testing it against resistance, the art becomes theory, and theory doesn't survive impact. Wing Chun is a piece of martial arts history, and when blended with modern fighting knowledge, it can be effective. But alone in a raw, unpredictable street fight, it's not built for that kind of storm. Aikido. Aikido looks almost peaceful when you watch it in a dojo. It's all about flow, redirection, and using your opponent's force against them. The goal isn't to hurt, but to neutralize. On paper, it sounds like the perfect self-defense system. In reality, it's one of the least reliable when things get ugly. The philosophy behind Aikido is beautiful though. They stay calm, balanced, and use technique, not strength. But that mindset was built for cooperative training, not real chaos. In a real fight, nobody's throwing clean, committed punches for you to blend with. They're swinging wild, tackling, shoving, and grabbing clothes. The precise timing Aikido needs rarely shows up in those moments. Aikido throws and wrist locks work perfect when your partner moves exactly how they're supposed to. But the street doesn't cooperate. You don't get clean grips, and most people don't react to pain the way drills expect them to. Adrenaline and chaos break technique fast. The lack of live sparring in most Aikido schools makes that gap even bigger. That said, Aikido does teach some genuinely useful habits. It also teaches how to fall safely, which can prevent serious injury if you get knocked down or thrown. And if you've trained seriously under a school that mixes in real resistance or modern adaptations, you'll at least have composure when things get rough. But pure Aikido against a trained fighter or even an aggressive brawler, it simply doesn't hold up. It's too slow to set up, too technical to apply, and not built for real impact. The art's spirit of control and non-violence is admirable, but in survival, hesitation and complexity are dangerous. Aikido shines as philosophy. It builds character, patience, and discipline. But if we're ranking arts for survival, it's near the bottom. When someone's actually trying to hurt you, redirecting energy is only step one. You still need to strike, control, or escape. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the best thing you can know when a fight hits the ground, and the worst thing if you stay there too long. It's designed for one-on-one control, not chaos. The entire art is built around leverage, patience, and finishing from bad positions. If someone grabs you, tackles you, or drags you down, a trained grappler knows how to stay calm, protect their head, and take over. The truth is, most people don't know what to do once they're on the floor. That's where Jiu-Jitsu shines. Chokes end fights fast without needing power, and joint locks end them permanently. You can hold, escape, or finish depending on the situation. A smaller person can control or submit someone twice their size, and that's rare in any martial art. But the street isn't a gym. Concrete, broken glass, and other people change everything. Staying on your back when there are multiple attackers or weapons nearby is a recipe for disaster. You can't shrimp away from a knife or double-leg your way out of a crowd. Smart jiu-jitsu for survival means adapting, clinch to control, use trips instead of guard pulls, and learn to get back up fast. Your goal isn't to win a jiu-jitsu match. It's to end the danger and leave. Jiu-jitsu is amazing when things go bad up close. It's calm under chaos, but it's not a complete street system unless you add stand-up awareness, quick disengagement drills, and the mindset to escape rather than dominate. Grappling gives you control, but survival is about getting home, not getting a tap. Wrestling. If jiu-jitsu teaches you how to survive on the ground, wrestling teaches you how to decide if the fight ever gets there. It's the art of control, not through theory or technique names, but through pure pressure, timing, and body awareness. Wrestlers know how to close distance, take someone down, and stay on top until they say otherwise. That alone makes it one of the most useful real-world styles you can have. The average street fight starts with a shove or a wild swing. A wrestler doesn't freeze, they change levels, wrap the hips, and slam the momentum straight into the dirt. Their base, grip strength, and balance are unmatched. Even without strikes, that ability to decide where the fight happens instantly puts them in charge. If a fight goes bad, they can plant someone, hold them down, and disengage before it escalates. But like every sport, wrestling has blind spots. There are no punches, no kicks, and no submissions. If a wrestler shoots into a knee, they're out cold and on concrete. Big takedowns can injure both people. And when there's more than one attacker, holding someone down can get you trapped. The key is adaptation. Use wrestling to control and move, not to prove a point. A good sprawl, a strong clinch, and the ability to get back up fast are what make wrestling work outside the mat. The cardio, toughness, and explosiveness built through wrestling carry over better than almost any other style. It's not fancy, but it's brutally efficient. In a real fight, the wrestler doesn't need a highlight move, they just need one clean takedown to decide what happens next. Muay Thai. Muay Thai is pure impact and the art of 8 limbs. When used right, it's one of the most brutal and effective striking systems ever created. Muay Thai fighters are built for chaos. They train to throw, block, and absorb punishment in real time, not in theory. In a one-on-one street fight, that toughness alone can end things before they start. What makes Muay Thai so effective for survival is simplicity. There's no fluff, no long sequences, just raw, direct violence that works under pressure. A low kick to the thigh can stop someone from chasing you. A knee in the clinch can fold a bodybuilder, and elbows, they end fights instantly. The art teaches how to break posture, attack balance, and use close range like a weapon. But here's the catch, nobody is actually training Muay Thai to fight in the street. It's a sport, and sport habits don't always fit the chaos outside. In the ring, you're fighting one person, barefoot, on soft mats, with rules. In the real world, it's shoes, pavement, and surprise angles. If someone grabs you, clinch work and balance save you. But if someone tackles you to the ground, or if 2 people jump in, Muay Thai has limits. That said, its fundamentals translate beautifully. The conditioning, awareness, and control of distance all matter when adrenaline spikes. If a trained Muay Thai fighter ends up in a street fight, their timing, power, and composure will make them dangerous. Boxing. Boxing is the king of simplicity with two fists and one mission: hit and don't get hit. It's a sport that turns chaos into rhythm, and in a real fight, that control over timing and distance is everything. A trained boxer doesn't panic when someone charges. They see the swing before it comes, slip the shot, and land one clean punch that changes the whole situation. Most street fights start and end standing. That's where boxing shines. The stance gives you balance, the guard protects your chin, and the footwork keeps you mobile. A sharp jab blinds and stops momentum. A short hook to the jaw can shut someone off instantly. Boxers are used to moving under fire with punches flying, adrenaline pumping, no time to think, and that's what makes them naturally calm in pressure. The best part about boxing in survival terms is efficiency. You don't need to hurt someone badly to stop them. A body shot, a stiff jab, or just clean defense can end things before they escalate. And because boxing trains conditioning, timing, and reaction speed constantly, you're less likely to gas out when things get messy. But boxing has gaps. It doesn't deal with grabs, takedowns, or when the fight is on the ground. If someone gets inside the clinch or tackles you, pure boxing isn't enough. And on concrete, one slip can end your night fast. Still, when it comes to short, one-on-one confrontations, the kind that happen in bars, parking lots, or crowds boxing might be the most practical striking base there is. It's fast, direct, and built for chaos. One mistake against a trained boxer and the fight's already over. MMA, mixed martial arts, is the ultimate hybrid and the closest thing we have to a complete combat system in modern times. It's not theory, it's pressure-tested reality. MMA fighters are trained to strike, clinch, wrestle, and grapple under stress, in gloves, in chaos, and against resistance. That balance of skills makes them the most adaptable fighters in the world, and in a survival situation, adaptability is everything. The reason mixed martial arts works so well is that it has no blind spots. You can't surprise an MMA fighter by changing range, and they know how to fight on the feet, in the clinch, and on the ground. They can punch, kick, elbow, knee, slam, or choke, depending on what the situation demands. It's not about memorizing moves, it's about reacting correctly in real time. And because their training happens against live resistance, they know how to stay calm when things go wrong. If a fight breaks out, mixed martial arts gives you options. If someone throws a punch, they slip and counter. If someone grabs them, they clinch and trip. And if someone tackles them, they defend, reverse, and stand up. The only real downside is that MMA fighters are used to rules. No weapons, no concrete, no friends jumping in. On the street, everything's unpredictable. Kicking a grounded opponent or going for an armbar on asphalt can end badly for everyone. But the physical control and mental calmness MMA builds still apply anywhere. In a one-on-one scenario, there's nothing more effective. Mixed martial arts teaches not just how to fight, but how to win under pressure. It's the perfect mix of chaos and composure. The self-taught fighter. The self-taught fighter is the final evolution of survival instinct. They learn from life itself. Maybe they've worked security. Maybe they've been jumped before. Maybe they just grew up in an environment where talking wasn't always enough, or maybe they have been doing a mix of a lot of martial arts for years. Every lesson they've learned came with bruises attached. There's no coach to correct mistakes in life, only experience. That's what makes them unpredictable because they don't fight by any rulebook. What separates the real self-taught fighter from the reckless brawler is awareness. The good ones understand that real violence isn't cinematic. It's fast, ugly, and often ends in seconds. They don't square up with fancy stances or wait for a referee. They keep their hands low, eyes wide, scanning for openings, exits, or bystanders who might jump in. They're always reading the room before reading the opponent. That kind of instinct doesn't come from drills. It comes from pressure and pain. Self-taught fighters also know how real bodies react. They've seen people freeze, panic, or swing wildly. That experience shapes their timing. They know when to move, when to talk, and when to strike. They rely on simplicity, not technical perfection, but it works under stress because it's built from repetition in real chaos. But what truly makes a street-adapted fighter dangerous and wise isn't aggression, it's restraint. They've been through enough to know what fighting costs: broken bones, jail time, legal trouble, and guilt. So now when things escalate, they don't feed it. They de-escalate. They use their presence, voice, and calm to control situations before fists ever fly. They know that walking away isn't weakness, it's mastery. When violence can't be avoided, their moves are short, efficient, and final. A fast palm strike, a shove, or a sweep, and then they're gone. They don't win the fight, they end it. That's the mindset most trained martial artists eventually discover. Your goal isn't domination, it's safety. The self-taught fighter embodies that truth naturally. They don't chase clout, they don't talk tough, and they don't overestimate themselves. They've seen what happens when pride takes control, and they'd rather stay out of it. Their biggest weapon isn't their hands, it's their judgment. So in a way, this isn't just the #1 fighting style, it's the one everyone should learn from. Because no matter what you train, real life doesn't follow your rules. The ground is hard, people don't fight fair, and words can save you from situations your punches can't. At the end of the day, survival isn't about who's strongest, it's about who's smartest. Knowing when to act, when to talk, and when to walk away. Every martial art gives you tools, but the mindset of the self-taught fighter is what really keeps them alive. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more honest, grounded takes on real fighting, hit subscribe, join the channel, and let's keep breaking down the truth behind what really works when it matters most.